Welcome to the St. Xavier's College tribute to Father Lancy Pereira, a former principal, a former head of the Department of Microbiology and the Department of Life Sciences and Biochemistry, a star of the college. Let's celebrate the life of Father Lancy and the warm, fond memories left behind. We will begin with a prayer.
Lord God, we give you thanks for three special gifts which Lancy brought into our world. Firstly, the gift of intensity. Lancy lived life passionately, wanting to make a difference and wanting the college and his personal and professional friends to make a difference. Secondly, for his versatility. Lancy was as comfortable in the world of art and music as he was in the world of science and research. His breadth of interest and knowledge was as deep as his professional specialization. Finally, for his synthetic and mystical insights. Lancy could visualize the multiple fields of human wisdom and endeavor harmoniously pointing towards the enchanted darkness. We pray that this mysterious and opaque darkness may now become for him the warm and tangible glow of radiant light. Amen.
This is a recall of our times with Father Lancy. In more ways than one, he became a father figure and remained so until he decided to move on from among us. He was friend, philosopher, guide, taskmaster, and teacher. We had a common passion, Western classical music. We had him over for musical soirees and casual dinners. No big groups, just the four of us at home. The connecting common thread was music combined with a good glass of wine once, when I played the music that I had on my laptop, but, as he rightly said, it was not the same. It may be the same Beethoven or Mozart or Brahms, but you are treating them with scant regard when you play their music on tiny laptop speakers, he said. The memories linger on. He had his peculiarities and quirks. He touched hundreds of lives and had a favorable impact on most, if not all. But at the center of it all, he was a good human being. But then that is what you would expect in a Jesuit priest who essentially lives for others. I wish we had visited him more during the last 2 years. Be at peace wherever you now are. Father Lancy Pereira, rest in peace.
Father Lancy was our principal during the years we were undergraduate students at St. Xavier's. Early on he took us under his wing, befriended not only us but also our parents, became both philosopher and guide and above all a close friend. His ability to command love and respect in equal measure was unique. He will be fondly remembered by the many whose lives he touched.
Father Lancy Pereira has been my principal. And right from the college days, he has been an inspiration, especially scientifically and theologically. He taught me how to look at the world from the angle of theology as well as science. He has been a great help to me in my formation, and I always cherished his memories till his dying days. Indeed, Father Lancy was a man who went out of his way to listen, which was one of his strong points. He would listen and be compassionate and show us that care, concern that is required. And I owe a lot to him, for he has helped me to grow to what I am today. May his soul rest in peace.
Greetings. My name is Ishwar from the graduating batch of 91. Father Lancy was a teacher and mentor through the 3 years of my BSc. I was probably one of the last batches to directly interact with Father Lancy when he was still director of the Kaye's lab and head of the Life Sciences and Biochem department. He was quite the visionary of his times and exposed us to incredible opportunities early on. In modern day biomedical sciences, alternate career paths in science, and most importantly the ability to think openly and make bold choices. And in doing so, I can speak at least for myself. He definitely influenced the career choices I made and the path I paved for myself.
My name is Sora and I did a BSc in Life Sciences at Xavier's College. I worked with Father Lancy in the Kaye's laboratory and he was my first mentor. He is one of the main reasons why I chose a career in science. Father Lancy didn't suffer fools and was extremely critical, especially when you messed up. His criticism was often accompanied by a metaphorical and sometimes literal kick in the backside. However, he cared deeply about his students and always wanted the best for them. On a personal note, he loved watching cricket, and when I moved abroad in the pre-internet days and I didn't have access to cricket online, he used to cut articles about cricket out of the newspaper and mail them to me, which were a great, and these were a great source of comfort in my early days in the US. I miss him and cherish the time that we spent together. Thank you, Father Lancy, for everything.
Met Father Lancy when he selected our dad, Professor Alvi Kamat, as his vice principal, science, when he took over as the principal of St. Xavier's in 1973. He recognized Dad's ability and leadership qualities along with his academic achievements and made the first non-Catholic VP in the history of the college. Now many have followed in his footsteps. Father Lancy was a visionary in that respect, by promoting a worthy candidate by virtue of his achievements. He became quite close to our family and visited us a number of times at home and loved my mum's fabulous cooking. He would always bless us all before he left. When I joined college for my first year junior college after school, it was a very scary prospect to travel all the way to VT from Dada on my own in a local train. I remember a number of times Father Lancy checking my class to see that I had reached college safely, especially in the monsoon. He cared about all his students. Thank you for everything and rest in peace, Father Lancy.
Father Lancy was an active participant and sponsor of the Indian music group. I served as the secretary of the IMG for 2 to 3 years of my BSc degree in life sciences. He was also active in the life sciences faculty and the Kaye's lab. As you know, he was a great mentor, as he understood the real world and had a good sense of humor. Could take a joke on him as well. He refused to give me a recommendation to do a PhD in life sciences. He insisted that I should do an MBA instead. Thinking back, he was probably right.
Christmas Day 2019. Here we are with Father Lancy and myself, Nilima Bhatt, looking to sing the hymn of St. Francis of Assisi for full spectrum consciousness, unconditional love and forgiveness for both of ourselves and all the lives we touch and all of humanity.
Yes.
Let's begin. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where is doubt, true faith in you. O Master, grant that I may never seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where is doubt, true faith in you.
Beautiful.
I was saddened to hear of the passing of Father Lancy. My name is Trevor D'Souza, and Father Lancy was my professor in the microbiology department and my MSc mentor and guide in the Kaye's lab. He also recruited me to be a lecturer in the life science department, and he played a major role in me achieving a scholarship in the US for a PhD in microbiology. He was an excellent teacher, mentor and guide to all his students. Even as principal of St. Xavier's, he was totally approachable. He advised us on science, was up to date on current events, and often talked to us about his philosophy of life. He took a keen interest in your academic journey. He even visited me in the US and met some of my professors, and he did this to all his students. This showed how concerned he was about your academic success. Father Lancy touched my life and that of all those he encountered. He has positively impacted the lives of many, many students, friends and families, and will truly be missed. After I left the Kaye's lab to pursue studies in the US, he wrote me a long letter stating how much the lab missed me and what an asset I was. That letter built up my self-esteem and confidence. In all honesty, Father Lancy was that asset as scientist, professor, mentor, and principal that had a large impact on St. Xavier's College. Rest in peace, dear Father Lancy.
My connect with Lancy was very personal. Though I sometimes had real differences with him, we shared a strong affection. For better or worse, he was a major factor in the direction my life took in the 1970s, and hence thereafter. I cherished our discussions, and for many years we'd meet once or twice a month at the Bandra Gymkhana or Willingdon Diner and enjoy 2-3 hours of relaxed company. What I admired about Lancy was his awesome ability and willingness to grasp any opportunity and see the intrinsic potential, whether in a project or a person. His ability to relate to the likes of an Indira Gandhi or Homi Sethna as easily as with Sahadev, the Pune in the first Kaye's lab. He affected so much positive influence in so many people's lives. The Kaye's lab was one of Lancy's early initiatives. His vision and charisma inspired a group of American friends who, though not unusually wealthy, dug deep and made sacrifices to fund the laboratories. The early 70s saw a superbly equipped microbiology laboratories, training a group of bright young students in the course of their master's degree work. I was fortunate to be part of the early group and able to share the extraordinary spirit that reflected Lancy's ability to enthuse and inspire. So many of these students, like many others Lancy influenced, went on to brilliant careers in India and overseas. One of the earliest Kaye's batch is now a successful entrepreneur in the United States, having set up a large biotechnology company specializing in natural products derived from a combination of cutting-edge fermentation and freeze-drying technologies, and presently working on an oral COVID vaccine. And this is just one of the many examples of how the old man, as we called him, even then, 50 years ago, continues to throw a beneficial shadow on our world. I will miss the man while being happy for the many hours I could spend with him. I believe that a little of Lancy will be present in all of us who knew him, whatever the flavor of our experiences.
My name is Suresh and I am Father Lancy's student. It is my great pleasure, privilege, and an equally proud moment to pay my humble tributes to Father Lancy. Father Lancy is no longer with us, but he is certainly with us in our memories. Good memories are the only thing which survives, and we can pass on these memories and reminisce about them in moments like this. We all know what a great scientist he was and what a great visionary he was. He was a great visionary for me for a very simple fact that he was able to spot something within me, and he gave me an opportunity to work in Kaye's lab under his guidance for my master's. Even before that, I worked in Kaye's lab when I was doing my bachelor's on the research project to correlate electrical conductance with the growth curve on E. coli. I was working with a tall glass column, and it was exceedingly difficult to stir the growth medium. I had devised a simple stirrer by taking two plastic tongue cleaners, and I connected them with a paper clip, and I was able to work it beautifully to stir the entire medium in the tall glass column. When I sat it on a magnetic stirrer, there was no need for any Teflon stirrers, and there was nothing available to stir the contents of a tall column. Father Lancy was more excited and impressed more than myself to see this simple innovation I was able to make. He would show it off to anyone visiting the lab to show off what I had accomplished and encourage me to pursue my research. I ended up doing my master's under his guidance in industrial microbiology on glucose oxidase. I would have never been what I am today but for his encouragement and hope he had in me, and I cannot thank him enough for what he had done for me. I'm sure he has done this for so many of his students in different ways, and they would be able to narrate it. He was essentially a great catalyst to provide and promote me with his encouragement and nurture the small talent we have within us. Today I'm blessed to be the owner of a biotech company by the name of BioSource and president of the company. We are involved in manufacturing probiotic cultures and other lactic cultures for a variety of applications with more than 100,000 liters of fermentation capacity and downstream processing capacity. We are very happy that we are able to do something good here, and we want to continue doing whatever we are here for. We are blessed with an extended family of more than 40 people here, and now I I can encourage them to think and come up with great ideas to make our world a little better. I am following the same vision that Father Lancy had for me and for others. We never want to be the biggest in anything we do, but we want to be the best in everything we want to accomplish. Beauty of life lies in its simplicity, and I learned from Father Lancy to keep it simple but chase big dreams. We all should be immensely proud to have the opportunity to be part of Father Lancy. This is the legacy and blessing he has left for all of us. Sincerely, Suresh.
When I was doing my BSc, Father Lancy was my professor, who made learning the basics of biochemistry and microbiology fascinating and interesting with his unique teaching style. Later, in 1974, I joined his Kaye's research laboratories to pursue my MSc microbiology by research. Even to this day, I am in awe of how Father Lancy had the vision, drive, and resourcefulness to establish a world-class research laboratories filled with the best of research equipment and supporting facilities. Mind you, this was way back in the 1970s. Indeed, this research lab in a college setting was no less than a miracle. Father Lancy had studied at Cornell University, USA, for his PhD in the microbiology. He worked tirelessly to train his students at the Kaye's research lab to achieve similar high standards and excellence. He was a devoted scientist, brilliant teacher, and a great mentor. Research students at Kaye's lab were required to present their work to the whole group at the monthly lab meetings. Father Lancy led the discussions, asked sharp questions, and taught us to be inquisitive. He made each student think scientifically and come up with possible approaches and solutions to a problem. All of us took part in the discussions, asked questions, and learned so much by thinking out of the box and helping each other. We also developed personal camaraderie and strong friendship bonds. I am sure that my fellow research colleagues and dear friends at Kaye's lab will agree that this has been our privilege to be Father Lancy's students. The learnings and experiences helped us tremendously in our career development. We remain indebted and grateful.
I am Clotilda De Silva, an ex-student of Father Lancy, who was my guide at the Master's and PhD degree at St. Xavier's College. Father Lancy was more to me than just a guide, counselor, head of department, principal, and many of the other roles he had. What he helped me achieve under his guidance is evident to anyone and everyone who knows me. Having taken me under his wing and nurtured my potential, he was instrumental in helping me grow beyond what I ever believed I could. There is no greater gift he could have given me. Although we were brought together for academic purposes, he inspired me to shape my intellect and perspectives of life in general. He was truly our father, a vibrant, energetic personality. He believed in us and helped us grow in his brilliance. He will be remembered for his guidance, his inspiration, and his kindness. May his soul rest in peace.
I was one of the first microbiology students to join the newly renovated and equipped Kaye's lab. With Father Lancy as director, he was also our microbiology professor and promoted the then new college science improvement program, for which the college received funding. Father Lancy's approach to teaching was quite different from the usual rote learning expected of students. He encouraged independent thinking and individual projects. It was in this capacity that I joined the Kaye's lab. When challenged on scientific grounds, he would have a bemused but tolerant expression, rather than getting irritated. It is due to his abilities that I decided to do my MSc with him at the Kaye's lab, and then proceeded to a PhD in molecular biology at TIFR Mumbai. Today, as a professor in the US, I still tell my students and colleagues of the type of research facilities afforded us by SXC where we could do hands-on independent research. 40 years ago, in no small part to the enterprise and foresight of Father Lancelot Pereira.
Dear Father Lancy, you know that I'm eternally grateful for your presence in my life. As my teacher, my MSc and PhD guide, my mentor, my friend. You recognized my capabilities and you pushed me to develop them. Honestly, there were times when I thought you pushed too hard and I would fall. But you knew my skills and abilities better than I knew them. I survived, I developed, I grew. I remember your many words to me. Hard work never kills was one of them as I juggled my various responsibilities. Never accept anything at face value. Always analyze it, including newspapers, readings, movies, and your personal communications was another. I do admit that I did not follow your teachings to the T, but I do know that you honed my analytical skills, and for that I'm deeply thankful. You made me confident. You were a pillar of strength and support. You loved and cared for all your students, and my life is sprinkled with so many of your acts of affection and care for me. Thank you. All those who know you know of your witty side, and I do not think there was a single occasion when Nihar and myself visited you over all these years, when you did not regale us with some witty take on your experiences, current events. Father Lancy, your teachings and your memories will always live on in me. I can imagine you humming your favorite tunes and laughing your infectious laugh with the angels. Rest in peace, Father Lancy.
I knew Father Lancy when I first joined St. Xavier's College as a teacher. He was busy in the Kaye's lab with his research, a real scientist. And I did not expect that he would be interested in things that I was busy with, because I began to look to see if we could form a curriculum, a syllabus for the value education program, what we all know as the PHV, Personality and Human Values. But Father Lancy was so keen on contributing to the content of that program, and I was quite impressed by that. I think it warmed Father Lancy's heart that in 2010, St. Xavier's finally got autonomy. That was his dream. As principal, he had planned for it because that was the time autonomy was being implemented in the rest of the country, but not in Maharashtra. It did not come in his time, but he was happy that finally we got this autonomous status in 2010. It warmed his heart. And finally, I remember Lancy just a few years ago when he joined us here at St. Peter's Church to help us with our spiritual nourishment of our people. And he spent long hours in the confessional counseling people. So you could see that Lancy was a man who wanted to contribute. In so many ways, he actually did contribute. So I'd like to sing this song as a tribute to him, and also in assurance that that is where Lancy is now, in the warm embrace of God, in the palm of God's hand. You who dwell in the shelter of the Lord, who abide in his shadow for life. Say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock in whom I trust, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. For to his angels he's given a command to guard you in all of your ways. Upon their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. That's where Father Lancy is. God bless.
Hello, I'm Rajendra Shinde, the present principal of St. Xavier's College, our alma mater. Exactly 40 years back, 1980-81, I stepped into the magnificent hall of the college for admission in the first year. And it was Father Lancy who interviewed me for the choice of subjects. All those who opted other than life science, he personally took them to Kaye's lab, showed them the facilities, and gave a brief talk on careers in life science. And after that, he gave us the freedom to choose our subjects. We met again in my third year biochemistry class, where he used to teach us instrumentation paper. Beyond this, there was not much interaction with him. It was only after I read messages which poured in after his demise that I understood the magnanimity of Father Lancy's personality. Now that I speak from the chair of St. Xavier's principal, which was once occupied by Father Lancy, it gives me goosebumps and reminds me of the responsibility I am shouldering. Hope I will be able to learn and emulate a few of his qualities when I discharge my duties as principal. The present staff room and present canteen, including foyer, are his contributions to the college. Mallar and IMG are two activities he started during his time. Over a period, they have not just remained activities but have become sagas in themselves. Every year, 10 to 20,000 students participate in Mallar. This Mallar just doesn't remain limited to St. Xavier's, but Mallar was emulated by many colleges in Mumbai and across India. So, if we talk in today's terminology of footfalls, we can imagine the footfall of Father Lancy's imagination. On behalf of the college and in my personal capacity, I would like to pay a tribute to such a stalwart, Father Lancy Pereira, who has left his mark on today's young generation. Thank you very much. Now I would like to read two messages which were sent to me by our two former vice principals who were lucky enough to be mentored by Father Lancy Pereira. Dr. Rajkumar Rao, former vice principal, academic improvement and professor in chemistry, writes, "On this occasion of paying tributes in memory of Father Lancy Pereira, permit me to share a few thoughts that spontaneously come to mind. A multifaceted persona that he was, I was fortunate to have encountered in him a principal and administrator, a teacher, a researcher, a music buff, an author, a Jesuit priest and counselor, a mentor and a friend. Others undoubtedly would have seen many more dimensions in him, and I'm sure that several tributes today will focus on one or more of these facets. If there was one trait that I saw in all of his avatars, it was that of a visionary leader. He had firm vision of a scenario that was perhaps 20 years into the future, and it was not surprising that there were many who could not fathom what was happening. Being an effective leader is not only about making speeches or being well liked. It is defined more by the results produced, and many of these results are very much visible in these great institutions even today. The only certainty of life is death, and good people die too. Father Lancy passed away last week and left behind a legacy of positive experiences for everyone who took time to know him. There will be several others in the future of St. Xavier's who perhaps one day might leave behind a richer legacy, but there will be only one Father Lancy. Adios, Father Lancy, till we meet again, Rajkumar Rao. This one is from Professor Jangu Mistry, the Vice Principal Science, Vice Principal for Academic Improvement, the former Vice Principal. Father Lancy was one of the most proactive principal of St. Xavier's College. During his term as principal, he initiated many academic and cultural activities like the Indian Music Group and its special programs, Khandala seminars for the teaching staff, science exhibitions to promote our students' work, creativity schemes, the Educational Technology Cell. He developed the Kaye Research Lab, and his famous quote was, "Money is no problem whenever the faculty asked for project funds for college developments." Always encouraging programs for sciences and music, he also motivated our former librarian Dominic to organize the special weeks to showcase the culture of other countries. Father Lancy interacted with the UGC team in Delhi and was successful in getting funds for our innovative schemes at Xavier's. His little scribbled note, "Gosh, am I happy?" on my confirmation letter was an encouragement to continue teaching at Xavier's. He often discussed aspects of his book, The Enchanted Darkness, with me and other faculty. In the mid-70s, he invited me to lunch at the Jesuit quarters to interact with Dr. A.V. Patankar from TIFR. The lunch discussion led to Xavier's starting the creativity scheme with student ideas resulting in innovation which were appreciated by industry. I was very happy and blessed to work under his leadership. Dr. Jahangir B. Mistry, former Vice Principal, Head Department of Physics, St. Xavier's College. Thank you.
I knew Father Lancy Pereira. We were companions in our formation. Of course, I went to Spain to study philosophy. He stayed on in India. But in other subjects, we were all together. We joined the society together. He was a little earlier I had to stay back because I had to wait for my results of the BSc. I joined him about 6 months later. Otherwise, we were together all through our formation, except, of course, in philosophy. I went to Spain for 3 years. He did theology in philosophy in India itself. Then from theology onwards, we were together in the same college, St. Xavier's College. We taught different subjects. I taught chemistry and he taught life sciences, or rather, some social life sciences. Then he started the Department of Life Sciences in Xavier's College. It was a new subject at that time. I continued with chemistry. I knew Lancy as rather irascible. He could get angry quite easily. He couldn't tolerate anyone who said anything which was against his point of view. Even if they were older to him, still he would get angry quite easily. He hardly ever got angry with me because we were companions, like school companions, and so we got on together well. That's all I can say.
I, Sheila Donde, retired Associate Professor and Head, Department of Life Sciences and Biochemistry, former Vice Principal Academic and former Director, Kaye's Research Laboratory, St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, had been associated with Father Lancy for nearly 30 years. Having heard about him before I joined St. Xavier's College as a faculty, and after several telephonic conversations, my imagined impression about him was this formidable, larger-than-life, strong, powerful, no-nonsense person who at the same time was caring, trusting, and having a sense of subtle humor. With immense trepidation, I met him for the first time after my interview at St. Xavier's College, in which I felt I had fared miserably. To my surprise, while expressing his high expectations from me and simultaneously issuing stern warnings, he entrusted me with the responsibility of taking up a teaching position in the Department of Life Sciences. His faith in me was enduring. During my continued interactions with him in college and later, I always found him to be a very encouraging and progressive mentor, an excellent advisor, a rock-solid support, and an out-of-the-box thinker. Whether it was designing a curriculum for a postgraduate course or stimulating young minds through his open-ended experimentation program, he brought out the best in every individual. His deep involvement in every activity of the Department of Life Sciences, from its birth till his retirement, played a key role in laying a strong foundation that has been built upon by his successors. His unique contributions to the college, such as initiation of postgraduate courses, development of research facilities, establishment of the honors program, faculty seminars, Indian music group, Malhar, to name a few, have become a part of the legacy of St. Xavier's College. At a personal level, Father Lancy was a very warm and caring person, in spite of his intimidating demeanor. He has attended my children's weddings, visited my home, participated in fun activities, and always contributed to my success in all my endeavors. I wish to thank late Father Lancy for always being there for me and for the college. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
I have known Father Lancy almost for 5 decades as my guide, mentor, and a dependable friend. He was my principal, head of the department and PhD guide at the Kaye's Research Lab. I've always admired his management skills, scientific temper, and a knack for bringing out the best in his students and colleagues. He introduced a number of firsts in our college. To mention a few to keep our students interested in our culture, music and research, he introduced Malhar Festival, Indian music group and honors program. Rest in peace, dear Father Lancy.
Lancy came from a science background. I come from a human resource management background. Whenever we met, Lancy would put before me certain hypotheticals or workers coming with certain problems. How would I deal with them? My answers seemed to have impressed him because the next thing I knew was he recommended my workshop to his life science students. And that's how I had the privilege of meeting and interacting with some of his outstanding students like Shubha Tole, Nilima Bhatt, and others.
Father Lancy's contribution to St. Xavier's College cannot be summarized in words. As an ex-principal and the founder member of the Life Science Department, he had the vision and passion to introduce the most advanced and modern curriculum in any university in India. This curriculum attracted some of the best talents from across the nation. Our ex-students who benefited from this curriculum are making a huge contribution in their field of expertise all over the world, continuing for Lancy's legacy. In conclusion, he led us by example, and his memory will remain a source of inspiration to all who had an opportunity to work with him.
Hi, this is Leonie, ex-Vice Principal of St. Xavier's College. First of all, let me convey my sympathies and condolences to all family and friends of Father Lancy all over the world. I first met Father Lancy in 1979 when I came for the interview. It was a senior college leave vacancy, and he asked all of us to wait for the afternoon for the interview, and I waited. It was the most casual interview of my life. He asked about me, my background and my family, and then told me that I want somebody to teach and not read from the textbooks. He also said there is a senior college vacancy which is a 1-year post, and the junior college vacancy is a permanent one, and I would recommend the junior college vacancy for you. Please come and collect your appointment letter from the general office. He was like an institution. He had such a towering personality. He was so straightforward. He did not mince words, and he meant just business. I was also very fortunate to have him conduct my marriage. Whenever he met me, he would inquire about family and the children. He was very loving and caring. When I was appointed vice principal in 1997, he said, "Yes, I'm very proud of her, and she has been my appointment." We're all very sad that he is no more with us, but I am sure he is in a better place with the Lord. May Almighty God grant him eternal rest till we all meet again. Amen.
My first meeting with Father Lancy was at my appointment interview, when his jovial nature put me at ease. On being asked who my favorite composer was, I realized that he was a music aficionado. Father Lancy's authorship was profoundly in-depth and complex, with details of spiritualism which were discussed in some of our talks. We honor his memory as an excellent principal, considerate to all of us, appreciating and encouraging our work in the department.
Lancy was very fond of music, especially the violin, and he took his violin to the novitiate, and from time to time he would play the rebec, as he called it. He spent his time, especially the evenings, playing the violin, and later on in his formation, he played the violin for us and for the community.
Father Lancy was an inspiring teacher, teaching more the concepts rather than factual details, allowing the student to fill in the gaps. In 1976, The microbiology department had gone to the Xavier's villa in Kandala for a seminar. On reaching the villa, I managed to sprain my ankle. I remember Father Lancy stayed up half the night, soothing me with kind words and talking to me, so that I could forget the pain. To this date, that image of Father soothing my pain is still there with me. On his 75th birthday, he specially invited me for his birthday celebration. I was very moved and touched by the gesture, and surprised that Father remembered me after so many years. At the party again, he privately told me about the dynamics of the department, and he was very happy that over 20 years, the students had raved about me as a teacher. I was so pleased, especially coming from a legendary teacher. Father will always live in us and know us. May his soul rest in peace.
I have fond memories of Father Lancy Pereira. I was appointed as a typist clerk in the general office during his tenure as principal of St. Xavier's in March 1976, and thus began my journey at St. Xavier's until my retirement in 2014 as registrar of St. Xavier's. He was very supportive during my baby steps in the college office. He was strict and a true perfectionist with a work culture in the college office which helped me and my other colleagues to learn and grow in the true spirit that was expected of us. He had assigned me the junior college work which was introduced at St. Xavier's in 1976 under the 10+2+3 system. I fondly remember the seminars for the office staff in Kandala and the gala Christmas parties which we had during his time. May his soul rest in peace.
Hello, this is Kanakadara Iyer from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You know, Father Lancy used to address me that way, and he was one of the few people who could pronounce my difficult Sanskrit name correct, and I really appreciated that. This is a tribute to Father Lancy. My interaction with Father Lancy was minimal, but it was very meaningful. I was recruited as a young faculty in the Department of Life Sciences, which Father Lancy championed in 1980. And I was very happy to be a part of that enterprise. And the year that I spent at St. Xavier's made a huge difference, positive difference in my life. And after that, I left and pursued my PhD at Indian Council of Medical Research, and then came to the US for further education. And I've lived in the US for 30 plus years. And I never had any contact with Father Lancy. You know, not being from a microbiology background, my scientific interaction with him was very minimal. But our dear friend Sujay Kumari has kept us all connected, and so that is how I reconnected with him in 2005, because I needed his advice for a situation I was facing in the United States. And as an academic, I was finding it very difficult to get a footing, and as a well-respected academician in India, I reached out to him. And would you believe it, after all these years of not having been in touch, I didn't even think he would remember me. He not only did he send a warm reply, but he helped me understand my situation and deal with it and move on from it in a new direction without any bitterness. And I don't think anybody else could have helped me accomplish that but for Father Lancy. So I'm very grateful to him for that, and I got to show my appreciation in person when I met him in 2008.